What do committee members hope to hear from the Fed chairman? Let's ask them, shall we? Chairman of the Budget Committee, Congressman John Spratt, joins us, as does Congressman John Campbell, also a member of that committee. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be with you, Bill.
Chairman Spratt, what's your first question for Chairman Bernanke tomorrow?
Does the Fed believe that we're headed towards a recession? And if so, what can we do to avoid or at least mitigate its effects, particularly in the realm of fiscal policy? He sits in the chair of administering monetary policy. What can we do on the fiscal side that will at least moderate the problem?
What do you think he'll say?
Well, we'll find out tomorrow, but I think he will say we're in a bad slump, and in any event, we should be ready to act, at least in a standby mode, if not enacting something to avoid the problem. He has to be careful about self-fulfilling prophecies. You don't want to be a prophet of gloom and doom tomorrow only to see it self-fulfilled because he pronounced it. So I think he'll be careful in what he says, but I think he'll tell us it's time for action.
Congressman Campbell, what are you interested to hear from the Fed chairman?
Well, I like Chairman Spratt's question, so I'll be interested in that. But also, I'm going to ask him, we just had inflation numbers today. Inflation looks like it's going up. Growth has been going down. If those trends continue, it's stagflation. And what is the remedy? What is the action he can take on stagflation? Or to prevent stagflation. But then the second question I'm going to ask is, what is there really more that the Fed can do? I mean, they've opened the window. If they lower rates another 50 basis points or even a full point over the next month or so, are they running out of bullets in their gun? Is it really time for us to look at fiscal stimulus here in Congress?
Mr. Chairman, we just spoke with Senator Clinton a little while ago on the program here, among other things, about her $70 billion fiscal stimulus package that she has on the table. Barack Obama has one. You know, a lot of people are talking fiscal stimulus here, but as economist Robert Samuelson points out in this week's Newsweek, in a $14 trillion economy, when you're talking about stimulus to the tune of $70 billion, that is a drop in the bucket and, at worst, just political symbolism. What do you say to that?
Bear in mind, this is only part of the solution. The Fed is responsible for the monetary part, and they're doing quite a bit in lowering interest rates, overnight rates in particular. Secondly, bear in mind that there are built-in automatic stabilizers in the budget already, and the budget has already begun to run bigger deficits this year than last year. That, too, has a stimulative effect on the economy. So this is one piece of a solution. And frankly, you mentioned those who put together packages. We'd like to see this be a bipartisan package. We think it would be a good sign to send the country that we have the confidence, as a confidence builder, that we were able to sit down together and put together a package that will ameliorate what appears to be an oncoming recession.
I know Congressman Campbell, the president, when he talks about fiscal stimulus, he's looking at the tax code to some degree. I can hear the economists, though, if you cut taxes, that's a permanent move that you risk fanning those inflationary problems that you were talking about, where we're in a period where it could be defined as stagflation.
Well, yeah, you're right, and there certainly is that risk. And I think that there are tax cuts that what we need is tax cuts that will stimulate investment. There's still a lot of money out there sitting on the sideline wondering where to go. And what we need to try and do is create a tax policy that encourages them someplace that they can go. Maybe we can index the basis of capital gains to inflation. Perhaps we can do some things with the corporate tax rate. There's a number of things I think we could do that would maybe move some of that investment money off the sidelines and create jobs, because that's what we need to do, is create jobs, and then we'll help pull ourselves out of this.
And Mr. Chairman, maybe you could shed a little more light. Congressman Hoyer, as you may know, about an hour ago said that in his view there could be a stimulus package on the president's desk in about a month. Can you give us a sense of what it would look like?
We could certainly do that. First of all, to borrow a phrase from Larry Summers, we want to make it targeted, timely, and temporary. Temporary because we want it to do its job and get out of the way so that we don't have a long-term impact on the bottom line of the budget. We want to show that we're still committed to fiscal discipline. Timely in the sense that if the recession is oncoming, we need to be doing something now if we're to take some of the sting out of it. And so those are the broad outlines. It could include a rebate, and probably would include some sort of a tax rebate, so that those receiving the rebate would be most apt, most likely to spend it. That's what we're trying to do, after all, is increase aggregate demand in the total economy.
Chairman Spratt, Congressman Campbell, good to see you both. We'll be watching tomorrow. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Bill.